All right, welcome back to another baseball game using On-Base Baseball. My name is Brian Hafferkamp. I'm the designer and creator of On-Base. In this series, we're going to start our fourth and final wild card series in this 2023 Major League Baseball playoff replay. So in this series, it is the AL Wild Card Series number 2. It will feature Toronto at Minnesota. So in the last video, I was trying to remember who that was. It was Toronto. Toronto at Minnesota. And this was played October 3rd of this year, 2023. Let's get going through the starting lineups for the Blue Jays. It's going to be George Springer in right. He's leading off. Brandon Belt hits second. He's the DH. Vlad Guerrero Jr. is at first base. Hitting cleanup is going to be Bichette. Bo Bichette, he is the shortstop. Kevin Biggio gets a start at second base. Kirk is the catcher in this one. He's going to hit sixth. Kiermaier is in center field, and he is hitting seventh. Matt Chapman is at third base. He's hitting eighth. And Dalton Varsho is going to be hitting ninth. On the mound for the Toronto Blue Jays is Kevin Gausman. Right-hander, can go 25 batters, 334 ER Sierra, so he'll be in the first column. In fact, both pitchers are going to be out of this first column. Should be a well-pitched ball game. I believe the real final was 3-1, so expecting something low scoring, but who knows what you're going to get on the tabletop, right? For the Twins, it's going to be Julian leading off, the second baseman. Jorge Polanco is going to be the third baseman. He's hitting second. Royce Lewis gets a start at DH and not at third base. He was hampered by a leg injury, a hamstring, I think, all throughout the playoffs, but dynamic young player. Max Kepler is in right. He's hitting cleanup. Alex Kirilloff is the first baseman. He's hitting fifth. Correa is at shortstop. Kind of a down year for Correa, but had some moments in the playoffs for sure. We'll see how he factors into everything here. Just a -3 batting run, so he'll be out of this third column. He is hitting sixth. Jeffers is the catcher. He's hitting seventh. Wallner gets a start in left field. He is batting eighth. And Taylor, Michael A. Taylor, is in center field. Always a plus defender. Always kind of a minus hitter in his career. He's had a couple of good years, but he's really out there for speed and defense, you can see. Not a lot of speed here. Taylor is a 6, and Kiermaier is an 8. Otherwise, everyone is sort of average to below average. On the bump for the Twins, and he'll be pitching in this first inning, top of the first inning, is going to be Lopez, Pablo Lopez. He's a right-handed pitcher, can go 25 batters, 337. Total stud, number one pitcher. He came over in the trade for Arise, which I suppose if they all play all the way through, they'll be able to play against each other. But Minnesota's got to win the first game before they start thinking about that. This is going to be game number 1. Blue Jays are going to start off this game, top of the first inning, with Springer, Belt, and Guerrero Jr. And let's see how this all plays out. So Lopez is ready, and let's get the game going. A 46 is going to be a quick strikeout for George Springer. You can see that here, a double player, a strikeout. So that's going to be Lopez getting him looking. So Springer, bat still on his shoulder as he heads back to the dugout. Brandon Belt stands in. Belt takes a hack. He's going to ground it pretty hard to first base, but no problem at first base for Kirilloff as he's going to take it himself. 2 down now. Vlad Guerrero Jr. stands in. He is hitting out of this second column for the batters. 24 is going to be a strikeout, so it doesn't matter. And that's going to be a 1-2-3 inning for Pablo Lopez. And the Twins come up to bat. They're going to be facing Kevin Gausman, the right-hander. It'll be Julian, Polanco, and Lewis for the hometown team. 16 is going to be a fly ball. That's down the right field line as he gets around on it. And into the right field corner is going to be Springer as he gets there and makes the play for out number 1. Brings up Polanco. Polanco with 7 batting runs. This is going to be a line drive. And that line out is going to go to the shortstop. So we go L6 on the put out. Nice play at short. from Bo Bichette. Brings up Lewis. Lewis is the DH, and he's going to get a strikeout. He's going to strike out against Gausman, and that's out number 3. So Gausman 1, 2, 3 matches Polanco. In the first inning, we go to the top of the second. It is no score. It'll be Bichette, Biggio, and Kirk for the visiting Blue Jays. A 23 is going to be a ground out. That's hit hard, but right to the second baseman. And possible error. So 1 or a 2 is a possible error. Second baseman is Julian. He's a minus, and that's going to be an E4. So first mistake of the game there puts Bo Bichette at first and Cavan Biggio to the plate. Another grounder. This time it goes to short. No problem for Correa. Correa is going to flip to second for 1, and that's all they're going to get. So we'll take the fielder's choice here, and it's going to go 6-4 on the putout. Biggio now at first base with the catcher Kirk coming up. Kirk is a 15, or it's a 15 to Kirk. Kirk himself is a 1 or a minus 2, so he's here. That's going to be a base knock just past the third baseman into left field, so between third and short. And at second, going to second base, is going to be Cavan Biggio. Toronto's in business. They got 2 on with 1 out, and Kiermaier stands in. A 44 to Kiermaier is going to be another base hit, and this one straight up the middle. Everybody's going to move up a single base. I'm not going to chance it here with Matt Chapman coming to the plate. Chapman, a big hitter. Only 7 batting runs, but, you know, over the years has been a really good hitter from the right side. He hits a 34. My patience pays off. 34 to a 7 is going to be a double as he laces one into the gap in left center field. That's going to score 1 and 2 and push that runner to third. He's an 8. We're going to try to score Kiermaier, see if we can clear the bases. 1 to 8. He's safe at home, and he's safe. And that's a 3 RBI double for Matty Chapman. Wow. That's a 2-bagger. So just like that, Toronto takes a 3-0 lead on Lopez. Big hit in a big moment for Matt Chapman. 3-0 Toronto, and it is Dalton Varsho standing in. 1 out and nobody on. 23 is going to be a grounder that goes to second base. No problem this time for the second baseman Julian as he makes the play over to first. That'll be out number 2. And 2 down now. We flip the order back over up to George Springer. This will be a fly ball for Springer that goes into right center field. The center fielder is going to have it, but we need to do an error check. And over to get it is Michael A. Taylor. He's going to make the play on the run, and that's out number 3. But Toronto puts up a 3 spot on the Twins, and they take a 3-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the second. For Minnesota in the second inning, it'll be Kepler, Kirilloff, and Correa. The Cuz. So 24 is not going to matter. That's going to be a strikeout from Kevin Gausman. Brings up Kirilloff now for his first at bat. 46. That'll be back-to-back Ks for Gausman. He's got it working. He's got 3 strikeouts in a row if you go back to the last inning. And Correa finally puts wood on the ball. He's going to hit it right back to the pitcher, though, as the pitcher makes a good throw to first. And that's another 1-2-3 inning for Kevin Gausman. We head to the top of the third. It's 3-0 Toronto over Minnesota. It's Belt, Guerrero, and Bichette for this very potent Toronto offense. Although Belt is going to strike out here, he's 0 for 2 now. Glad Guerrero struck out in his first at-bat. He's at least going to hit the ball here. That's a ground ball to second base. Hot shot, but there's Julian, and he makes a nice little grab and throw over to first. Gets the not speedy Guerrero. And brings up Bo Bichette. Bichette on with an error last time, but this time he's going to hit the ball out to the outfield. Kind of a lazy fly ball out into left center. Under it is Taylor, and he'll make the play for out number 3. 1-2-3. Go the Toronto Blue Jays in the top of the third. We go to the bottom of the third. 3-0. Minnesota looking to make a little noise with the bottom of the order. It'll be Jeffers, Walter, and Taylor. 35 to a 15 batting runs. Jeffers kind of a revelation here. That's going to be a strikeout though. So 15 batting runs for the catcher, also a plus catcher. So they really got a bit of a gem there with Jeffers. Brings up Wallner, left-handed batter, also played well. 13 batting runs. He'll be out of this next to highest column. 33 is going to be a single. That's off of the pitcher, Gausman. That's a base hit up the middle. And Wallner is on first with 1 out. Brings up Michael A. Taylor. Taylor, not ever a great offensive player. He's got a fly out here that's going to go to right center field. Let's see if there's an error. Under it or getting to it is Kiermaier. And Kiermaier, that's a 1 as he gets to it, but he can't make the catch, and that's going to be an E8. So each team with an error here. And that puts runners at first and second with only 1 out. And Julian to the plate. Julian in the second batting column. But he's going to ground out here with only 1 out. The ground out with the advance is going to come into play. So that's a little tapper past the mound, and coming in hard in on it is the shortstop Bichette. The only play he has is first, so he's going to make that, and it's going to go 6-3 on the putout. That is 2 outs. Both runners are going to move up on the fielder's choice. And we have 2 down with 2 in scoring position. Base hit for Polanco. We'll put 2 on the board. And 11 is going to be a strikeout, though, as Gausman bears down, and he gets Polanco looking. Polanco a little bit too patient in that at-bat. And he strands 2 in scoring position. Would have been big for Minnesota to get back in it, but as it is, 3-0 as we go to the top of the 4th. Biggio, Kirk, and Kiermaier for the Blue Jays. 35 to Kevin Biggio is going to be a strikeout. So Pablo Lopez with a K gets Biggio swinging. Brings up the catcher Kirk. This is going to be back-to-back Ks. So nice pitching here by Pablo as he comes back after a rough second inning, and he's coming back to put up some zeros. Kiermaier to the plate. He's a left-handed batter against the righty Lopez. He's a 2. 44 to a 2 is going to be a base hit, and that's a base knock up the middle. Kiermaier now 2 for 2 in the game. We're going to try to steal, get him in scoring position, and see if Chapman can add to the score with a base hit. A 7 is going to be in there. 1 to 8, he's safe. And Kiermaier with the stolen base. So with 2 outs, they have a runner in scoring position. Base hit will score a run, but Lopez bears down, and he gets Chapman swinging on the slider. So Toronto strands a man at second base, and we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. Still 3-0 Toronto over Minnesota. Minnesota with the heart of the order coming up. Lewis, Kepler, and Kirilloff. And let's see if they can do a little damage. A 14 for a 16 is going to be a base knock. And that goes into right field. Like I said, not great speed on this team, so the only player of note really is going to be Taylor. So Lewis is standing at first. He's also been hampered by an injury, so he's really not going to be doing much. But this is Kepler. Kepler hits it hard on a line, and that's going to be right at the shortstop. So nice play at short by Bichette. We go L6 on the putout, and the runner gets back to first. It'll be Kirilloff now. Kirilloff struck out in his first at bat. He's got a 45 here. I believe this is going to be a fly out. It is. And that's a fly ball down the right field line. Hustling over to the line is going to be the right fielder Springer, and he's got it for out number 2. A runner will hold at first. Brings up Carlos Correa. Does Correa have any lightning in his bat? He does not. A 35 is going to be a strikeout as Correa comes up empty. And so do the Twins. They strand a runner at first base, a leadoff single, and can't get him around to score. We head to the top of the 5th. It's 3-0 Toronto over Minnesota. It will be Varsho, and then back to the top of the order with Springer and Belt. Varsho is going to get under it a little bit. This is flied out to right center field. Center fielder Taylor is there, and he's going to make the play. It's a can of corn out there, as they used to say back in the day. Brings up George Springer. Springer flied out in his last at-bat. he will have a base hit here, and that's going to go past the second baseman into right field, and Springer's on first with 1 out. Brings up Brandon Belt, left-hander, played for the Giants for forever, and he is going to hit into a double play. So he hits it hard, but right at the second baseman Julian. Julian goes 4-6-3, not 4, 4-6-3 on the put out, and that's going to be an inning double play. So just like that, Toronto or the Twins erase that runner at first base, and we head to the bottom of the 5th inning. Still 3-0 Toronto. Minnesota just looking for anything to wake up their offense. They only have 2 hits against Kevin Gausman, and it's definitely provable that you can get big hits. You just got to get the right combination here. It'll be Jeffers, Wallner, and Taylor. It's a pretty good combination of players to be coming up. But here we're going to get a strikeout looking from Kevin Gausman. Gausman with the lollipop curve in there for strike 3. And that will bring up Wallner. Wallner 1 for 1 with a single in his first at bat. 35 is going to be another strikeout. So Gausman gets Wallner swinging, probably on a changeup or something. And Wallner is down. He's 1 for 2 now. Brings up Michael Taylor. Michael Taylor on with an error in his first at bat. 25 is going to be a fly ball, so that goes to center. That's going to be another error check, and another error. 2 errors. Oh man, 2 errors on Kiermaier. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, on Kiermaier. Yeah. Oh man. So Taylor's got the formula. Just hit it to Kiermaier. We're going to try to steal with him. At 1-6, he's going to be safe. Oh, and he's in there just under the tag. They thought for a minute they were going to have to challenge that one. We'll see. We'll see how that helps things. Runner at second base. Julian, base hit, scores a run, but he can't get around on that Gausman fastball, and he is out. So a strikeout to end the inning ends the threat. The Twins strand another runner at second base, and we go to the top of the 6th inning. It's Toronto 3-0 over the Twins. Now Lopez can go 25. We're at 20 right here. We're at 19 for Gausman. So both pitchers in good shape so far. All right, and for Lopez, he'll be facing Guerrero, Bichette, and Biggio. A 55 to Guerrero is going to be a line out or a pop out if the D10 is a 7 or greater. It's an 8, so that's going to be a pop up. And that's right to the catcher. He's in foul territory. And so we're going to say P2 on the put out. Guerrero a little frustrated. He's over 3 now. Brings up Bichette. 26. 26 is going to be a strikeout off of the pitcher's column. And that'll be a strikeout swinging. Both pitchers really good so far. Minnesota won this game 3-1. So sort of the reverse at this point. Minnesota trying to hold down, get one more out. This is Kevin Biggio, the second baseman. Excuse me. And 13 is going to be a ground out right to first base. This time, the first baseman is going to flip to the pitcher. And that is 3 outs. All right. Sharing is caring. That's a 3-up, 3-down inning for Lopez as he gets Guerrero, Bichette, and Biggio. Heart of the order, 1, 2, 3. So nice. And now the Twins have the middle of their order coming up. Polanco, Lewis, and Kepler. And let's see if they can make a little noise against Kevin Gausman. A 24 is not going to get it done, as Gausman has been fooling them all day on some sort of pitch. 1 out, nobody on. Lewis stands in. A 22 is nothing off the pitcher card. For Lewis, it's a double or a triple. If this is a 7, that's going to be a 3-bagger, as somehow he legs it out. And he's going to wind up at third base with 1 out. So just like that, Lewis with a triple. Must have been a misplay somewhere out there. Brings up Kepler. Kepler with a 25. 25 is going to be a fly out. That goes to left field. Let's see if there's an error. No error on the play. So we're going to say F7 on the put out. That'll be out number 2. And Lewis is just a 4. I don't know. Kirilloff is due. He's going to stay at third base. Bad leg, everything. We got a ground out. That's going to go to second base. And just like that, the rally is over. So the Twins stranded another runner in scoring position. This is becoming the narrative of the game. Twins getting runners into scoring position in the 6th, in the 5th, and in the 4th, or I'm sorry, the 3rd, and had runners poised and ready. Just can't get the big hit with 2 outs. I was reading somewhere that was really the narrative of the entire postseason this year, was just, who could get 2 out hits. So it's a big thing in baseball. All right, so we head to the top of the 7th inning. It's 3-0 Toronto over Minnesota. We got 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3. He can go 25, so we'll go with Lopez. We'll just stick with him. He's pitching well. There's no need to switch out because he's not batting. He's going to face off against Kirk, Kiermaier, and Chapman. 34 to a -2. That's going to be a leadoff double as he rips one off the wall in dead center field. And standing in at second base is Kirk, the catcher. Brings up Kiermaier. Kiermaier 2 for 2 on the day. He's going to strike out here as that comes off the pitcher column. That's a big first out. Let's go ahead and intentionally walk Chapman, and we're going to see if we can set up the double play. Chapman with a strikeout in his last at bat, but he had a big 3-run double. And we're going to bring up Varsho. 23 is a ground out to Varsho. A ground out to second base. The second baseman makes the play. Problem is, you only get 1. So we're going to take the fielder's choice at first. We're going to go 4-6 on the putout, and this runner is going to make it to third. So runners at the corners with 2 outs now, and back to the top of the order with George Springer. 45 to Springer is going to be a flyout, and that's to dead center field. Right in his tracks, Michael A. Taylor makes the catch, and good managerial skills there. Gets him out of the inning. So that's going to be a... what is it? No runs. Sorry. Blanked out a little bit there. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning. It's 3-0 Toronto over the Minnesota Twins. That's going to be 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3. Gausman can go 5. Boy, I tell you, I wish this was the Gausman that the Braves got. I think they got this guy for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then, man, he just went downhill and then became a stud when he went somewhere else. We're hoping for something a little better from Kevin Gausman. First up is Correa. Correa gets a 34. We're going to see what this does. 34 here to Correa is going to be a 2-bagger as he rips one over the left fielder, and that's going to one-hop the wall. And Correa cruises into second base. And just like that, the Twins are in business. They got a runner at second with nobody out and some pretty decent hitters coming up. So 23 is going to be a ground out. That was to 9. That's a ground out to the second baseman. Oh, and we got an error, and watch out. This is the way the innings are built. All right, so the runner goes to third on the error. And we got runners at first and second now with nobody out. And let's see if Gausman can get out of this jam. 44, I think that's just going to be fuel for the fire. That's a walk, so that's going to load the bases. Not really inclined to remove Gausman here because you can't do any better than that. He's pitching out of the highest column, so let's see if he can get himself out of it. Infield back, playing for 2. This will be a 14. 14 to a -2 is going to be a hit by pitch or a walk. It's a 2, so that's going to be a walk, and he walks in the first run of the ball game. So RBI for Michael A. Taylor as he shows good patience there. And that brings him back to the top of the order with Julian. It's now 3-1, Toronto. Nobody out, and the bases loaded. And we're going to play the infield in. Anything double play is going to go home to first. Any ground ball force out is going to go to home plate. So any lead runner out is going to go to home plate. We've got a 4-speed at third base, so you know you're praying for a fly ball or a strikeout here. A line drive will do. 55. That's going to be a liner. A line out to the catcher, which you can't do, so that's going to be a pop-up to the catcher. Oh, costly first out. And let's see if Gausman can wiggle out of this one. He's got Polanco coming to the plate. Polanco is 0 for 3. 45 is going to be a fly out for Polanco. That fly ball goes right down the left field line. Chasing it to the line is going to be Varsho. Varsho makes the play in left. The question is, do we try to score? 7th inning. Got a guy who's coming to the plate. I'm going to go for it. You don't get these opportunities all the time. So here's our guy on third. 1-4. He's going to score. Otherwise, he's thrown out at the plate. Being aggressive. And it does not pay off. As he gets thrown out 7-2. And that'll be out number 2. Oh, killer. Okay. Oh, that's actually strike him out, throw him out, right? So that's 2. That's 3. Or not strike him out, but that was a double play. Oh my gosh. Well, you're trying to score some runs, you know, trying to make it happen. All right. Brandon Belt. I mean, this guy is not in the first column. Maybe. I don't know. I can justifiably. It was a dumb move on my part. We go to the 8th inning. Toronto's up 3-0. And we've reached our limit with Pablo Lopez. He's going to be pitching out of this column here. It's 3-1. Sorry, that should be a 1. They did score 1 out of all that. So Lopez has only given up 3 runs so far. We'll see if he can push past the middle of the order here. 56 to a 19 is going to be hit by pitch. Brings up Vlad Guerrero Jr. Guerrero 0 for 3. 15. So 15 is a blank here. And to a 15, that's going to be a ground out. We're going to take the out at second. So that's going to go 3-6 on the fielder's choice. That'll be out number 1. 3-6. And standing at first base is Guerrero. So a little bit of an upgrade from 1 speed to 2. But really not much anything to note. Brings up Bo Bichette. Bichette reached on an error his first time up, but he's 0 for 3 for the day. 45 to an 18 is going to be a single. So that's a base hit up the middle for Bo Bichette. Runner on first goes to second and hits the brakes. It's going to bring up Kevin Biggio. A 45 to a 1 is going to be a little different story. That's going to be a fly out to center field. Taylor is there. He'll make the catch for out number 2. And we got runners at first and second with 2 down. Base hit scores a run for Kirk. And it looks like he's going to do that. 66 to a -2 is going to be a long single. So that's not really going to have any effect. He can't stretch that into 2. He's already going to go to third. And he's already going to score. But that is an RBI. It's now a 4-1 lead, and we got to pull Pablo Lopez this time. All right, that's going to close the... actually, it won't close the book yet. He's responsible for the 2 runners on base, but Lopez ends his outing 7 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 1 of those intentional, and 8 strikeouts. He also hit a batter. So he is on the hook for the loss. In is Griffin Jacks. Jack's a right-hander, can go 4 batters. 336 Sierra. So he'll be pitching out of this first column. So a little bit of an upgrade here as we had to downgrade Lopez that last outing. Probably should have just never sent him out for the 8th, but you know, you live and you learn. Trying to ride with my hot hand starter, right? He's your number 1 and your ace, so you just go with that. So he's going to be coming in, Jax is, to face Kiermaier, and there's 2 down in the inning. We got runners at first and third. 1 run already in. It's 4-1 Toronto. 23 is going to be a ground ball to short, and Correa is there to get it. He'll go the short way, just go 6-4 on the put out, and that'll be out number 3. So that ends the inning, but Toronto does put 1 run up on the board. And we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Toronto's going to get a relief pitcher of their own here. Let me get that. All right, the new pitcher for Toronto is going to be Swanson, Eric Swanson, right-handed pitcher. Has a 4 stamina, and he can go 4 batters. 336 will be his Sierra, so he's coming out of this first column. He replaces Gausman. Gausman went 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, and 10 strikeouts. So really solid outing for the Blue Jays with Gausman. Lewis, Kepler, and Kirilloff are going to be the first to face off against Swanson. Our bridge to the bullpen, or bridge to the end of the game, is going to be Swanson and then Romano. Romano is their big closer, 36 saves on the year. We got a 36, speaking of 36, and that's going to be to Lewis, who is a 16 batting runs, and that's going to be a fly ball out to left field. Lewis is retired for the second time in this game. He's wind up 2 for 4 here. So 1 out with Max Kepler coming up. Kepler 0 for the day. This will be another strikeout, so his second strikeout of the game for him. And tough when your number 4 hitter is not producing much. Number 5 isn't doing much else, and he is going to strike out. That's going to be back-to-back Ks for the setup man Swanson. And we go to the top of the 9th inning. 4-1 is our score. Toronto over Minnesota. We are going to keep Jax in the game, so just let it ride with him. 36. He's going to be facing off against Chapman, Varsho, and then back to Springer. Chapman with the big 3-run double back in the second inning here, and he was intentionally walked his last time up. 36. No need to walk him here. 36 to a 7. It's going to be a fly ball. This goes out to left center field. That's a lazy fly ball out there for the center fielder, sorry. And Taylor is going to make the play for out number 1. Brings up Dalton Varsho, left-handed bat. 35 for Varsho is going to be a strikeout. So Jax brings the hammer, and that's going to be out number 2. Brings up Springer. Springer 1 for 4, and he's going to be 1 for 5. That's a ground ball to second base, or a ground ball to center field, sorry. And the center fielder is Taylor. He's going to make the play. For out number 3, 1-2-3 inning for Griffin Jacks. Shuts down the Toronto offense. And we head to the bottom of the 9th. We're going to bring in Jordan Romano. Let me do that, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we got Jordan Romano in the game, right-handed pitcher. He can go 4 batters. He's got a 3.52 Sierra, so he just sneaks into this third column. Might come into play. Still get a strikeout here, but you lose the strikeout on a 26, and there are some good things that can happen with the better hitters on a 26. So we'll see if that affects things. And he does prevent the triple here, though, so that's a good thing. So we got Correa, Jeffers, and Wallner coming up. Correa 1 for 3 with a double. He did score a run in that last inning, the lone Minnesota run. And this was the part of the order that made some things happen for him. So let's see what happens down here. You got some 15, 13 batting runs. You got some guys that can hit all throughout this Minnesota lineup. So let's see if they hit. 56. That is going to be a not strikeout, right? So that's an issue maybe. 56 to a -3, though. That's going to be a strikeout. So Correa goes down swinging, and that's going to be out number 1. So Minnesota down to their final 2 outs. This is going to be Jeffers. Jeffers is 0 for the day. 45 to a 15 is going to be a base hit, though, as he tries to get the rally going. He rips one past the shortstop into left field, and that's going to be on at first base for Jeffers. Let's see. I don't think anybody on here with some speed. Willie Castro, a 9. And looks like he's the guy, Willie Castro. They need 3. So I'm not inclined to just put him on there because of speed purposes. So we got Wallner up. Wallner, a pretty good hitter. He's 1 for 2 in this one. He's got a 23 here, though. 23 is going to be a ground out to second base. Let's see if there's an error. No error on the play. And so that's going to be a 4-6 put out. Michael A. Taylor standing in. Taylor has been on base all 3 times, twice with an error. We're really trying to flip it back over to the top of the order. I don't know if they have anybody better on the bench. Donovan Solano is an 8. Really, you need somebody with a 10 or better to really make a difference. And it really does not look like they have anybody that fits that mold on the bench. Everybody, their best hitters are out on the field right now, so we're going to roll with it. Michael A. Taylor, he's at least got a little speed. Here's that 26. 26, I told you, would have been a strikeout if he was in this column, but he's in this one. And so Romano, a 26 to a -2. It's going to be a ground out. It was only a single for a better hitter. So Taylor is going to ground out to short, and that's just a plain old ground out. So we're going to go the short way, 6-4, and that fielder's choice is going to end the game. And just like that, Toronto takes game 1, 4-1 over the Minnesota Twins. Let me come back with the totals. All right, and we're back with the totals. Toronto wins this one. They get 4 runs on 8 hits. They had 3 errors, 2 by Kiermaier. Oh, just tough rolls. You know, you get that one, you get that one, and there's nothing you could do. They were error checks. If it was a 2, he would have made the play because he's a plus outfielder. But just a couple of balls he lost, I guess. We got 1 run on 5 hits and 1 error. Error on the second baseman, Julian, early on in the game, somewhere up here, right here, and which, you know, that got erased. That runner got erased, but Chapman could have been the player of the game, but we went with Kevin Gausman. Gausman, 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, and 10 Ks. So solid outing for the Toronto Blue Jays #1 starter. Also a good outing for Lopez, 7 2/3, 8 hits, 4 runs. I believe, yeah, they were all earned. 2 walks and 8 Ks for Lopez. Jax came in, gave him some relief. Swanson gets the hold, and Romano comes in. Jordan Romano comes in for the save. So really well pitched game, nice and crisp. Chapman with the 3 RBI double, that was the big hit in the game. Otherwise, just sort of some dinking and dumping here and there. In fact, the 1 run, the 1 run for Gausman, it's really 4 hits and no earned runs. So 1 run and no earned runs. Didn't allow an earned run in the game. So excellent play from Toronto, except for the 3 errors. That was not excellent, but they worked around them and were able to get the win. They're going to take the lead in the series, 1-0. So we have not had any series go to a game 3 yet. So we played 3 wild card series. Our winners so far are going to be Milwaukee and Miami in the National League. And then in the American League, it was who just played Texas? Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay beat the Rangers 2-0. So they're going to be heading on to the next round. This is the final wild card round. We'll have game 2 tomorrow. And we'll see if Toronto can close it out or if Minnesota can force a game 3. Again, it's the best of 3 at Minnesota at the home team. And so that's how they played out the wild cards this time. And I think there's an extra wild card compared to years past. 2 teams got byes in the first round, and then they're awaiting these wild card winners. So we'll have the NLDS and ALDS rounds after this one is concluded. I'm playing on-base baseball, which is a sabermetric-driven baseball game. It's maybe hard to see here, but we're using Sierra for the pitchers, or if it's an older season, we'll use FIP. And then for the batters, we're using something called batting runs. It's also, you can think of it as weighted runs above average, but it's a park adjusted and era adjusted weighted runs above average. So you can use weighted runs above average if you want. It's an almost equivalent number, but it puts it on more of a level playing field in terms of the era played, the ballpark that the player hit in, to use batting runs. Batting runs is exclusive to Fangraphs, and so there is a version of batting runs. It's called RBAT, and so it's a little bit of a different number. On some players, it's not super noticeable. If you go to Baseball Reference, you can find RBAT. So it's an equivalent number. It's not the exact same calculation. Both sides, do it differently. But that's what I've been using for batting runs on base since the beginning, for the batting number, which really just separates out, the players. There's one called offense and then one called defense. Defense we do use. Defense is what we use for the defensive number. And offense incorporates their base running too. So I didn't want to incorporate their base running into their batting number. So I separated that out, and they call that weighted runs above average, or batting runs is their park adjusted weighted runs above average number. So if that's too complicated for you, I understand. It's really splitting hairs. It's, less than 1 is the difference between a lot of those players. But they're just trying to find a level ground between, guys who hit in Coors Field and guys who hit in Petco Park, right? So, or in San Francisco or something. So we're using that for our sort of key numbers here. We have different columns depending on your batting runs number. So we have a range. 30 plus is generally your MVP type players. You're going to have 10 or 15 of those every year. 10 to 30 is going to be your all-star to MVP type players. You're going to see some former MVP, Bryce Harper's in there and players like that. They're in the upper 20s. And then you have -5 to 10 to a positive 10, which is going to be the bulk of all the players in Major League Baseball. And then you have your guys who are less than 5. If you have pitchers from older seasons, sometimes they'll wind up in the -4, -5, -3 sort of area, but a lot of pitchers are going to wind up less than 5. You're going to have your sort of defense first players that just aren't very good. Varsho had a terrible season at the plate, and he is in this -5 category. I think he's the only one that reaches down that low. But obviously he's a plus defender and has average speed. In the past, he's been just a real workhorse, show up every day, play good defense, hit the ball occasionally, different seasons, and really good left-handed bat. So that was a good pickup for the Blue Jays. For the pitchers, we're using Sierra, which is a they call it Skills Interactive, or Skill Interactive ERA, which is like FIP, which is Fielding Independent Pitching, which only looks at strikeouts, walks, and home runs. So as the only things that pitchers can contribute. But Sierra takes that and goes a little bit farther and says, okay, we're going to try to account for balls put in play and to see if we can get a little bit more nuance than just FIP. FIP and Sierra are going to be very close. I was reading up a little bit more about it yesterday, and Sierra is a more predictive number. So as you see a person's Sierra throughout his career, you can sort of predict, as long as things don't fall apart, in the middle of his career, he's going to be about that number and he's going to be about that range. So for me, Sierra is sort of it's the hotness. And so I wanted to get that into the game as well. For older seasons, we don't calculate Sierra. Sierra only goes back to like 2002, I believe. And so because of that, you have to use FIP for older seasons. So if you see, let's say like the 75 season, or I don't have 98. I have 98 out. So either of those seasons, you're going to see I'm using FIP instead, and actually on the cards for the players, Sierra is going to be blank. That's intentional so that you know that we're using FIP. So either way, they're going to come out pretty close. Like let's say with our starter Lopez. So I have both on here. Lopez is Sierra's 337. His FIP is 333. His ERA is 366. So everything is expected. He pitched as expected. His defense played as expected. And he didn't get any sort of disadvantage in his earned run average because of his defense. You can see here for Sonny Gray, his Sierra was 395, but his FIP is 283, and his ERA is 279. So he was actually, in actuality, counting in some of the other sabermetric things that they use for Sierra, he actually pitched a little worse than what his actual outcome was. So maybe there were some defensive plays, just some lucky plays that happened throughout the year that helped to boost that ERA, and maybe things he shouldn't have gotten out of that he did get out of. Those innings happen too, and it goes the other way too. So there are innings where you should have gotten out of it, or you shouldn't have gotten out of it, but you do, or you shouldn't have gotten out of it, but or you should have got out of it, but you didn't because of a costly error, or it just is 4 inches to the right and the guy just couldn't make the play, whatever. So we're always just trying to account for all of these different variables, and it's so fine-grained in sabermetrics that you're just really looking like, how can we be predictive about player performance? And for most of us, it doesn't matter. We're not running teams, and most of us are not gambling, I don't think. I mean, I don't think that most people are gambling, but some people are. And so they're using some of these predictive stats to make those choices. If you're running a fantasy league, you can look at some of these things when you're projecting out players to see whether you think that kind of player is going to bounce back, or was that an anomaly year based off of other predictive stats and that sort of thing. So that's how those work, and those are the baseline numbers. We also use a speed number, and that comes from Bill James. So early on in the 80s, he had created what he called speed. And speed took into account all the aspects of base running, so stealing and base running both. And so we use that single number for all base running situations. These days, a better number is BSR, which you can think of as base running. That accounts for stealing, and that accounts for taking extra bases. So it's a similar number. BSR is on a weighted scale, so 0 is average. 0 is an average player. And really, for this game mechanic, I needed a roll of a D10 dice, or a D10 die, or a D9 die, really. And so I needed something. I would have had to convert BSR, which is no problem. I've done it before in the past. You just basically set 0 to 5 or 50 or whatever your sort of middle of the dice roll is. And then you go from there, so that an average player is now a 5, or an average player is a 50, or whatever you want your average to be. You set 0 to your average, and then you sort of play everybody off of that. And I've done that before. I did it for On Base Advanced, and I just don't want to have to do that every time. It's just for the sake of simplicity. The number is simple to understand and to get to with the player speed rating. And most players are not going to go over 9. And if they go over 9, you can round down to 9, which would be an automatic push through every time, right? If the roll is 1 to 9 and the player speed is 9, then 1 to 9 is going to be safe every time. But you only have a handful of those players in the league in any given season, if you have any. I think we ran into one in the last series. Somebody had a speed of 9, but I can't remember. You obviously have someone with an 8 in Kiermaier, so he only has one chance, 11% chance of being thrown out when he's taking extra bases, which could be really true, really. So those are your 3 main metrics. If you play with the cards, which I keep forgetting to bring an example of the cards, but if you play using the cards, it has all those metrics on there. It also has all their stats. So everything that you see here, all these stats and their metrics, their like Sierra and stamina, all those are here. The 3 key metrics: batting, runs, defense, speed. Those are all on the player card, and then you'll have all of those stats get put onto the card, plus whatever column they hit out of, actually, or whatever column they pitch out of is actually on the card itself. So you don't need this chart at all if you want to play with the cards. This is just playing with roster sheets is one way to play, and maybe the easiest way for me to be able to do that without having to print out, a ton of cards for all these teams. So if you want to, go for it. On Base is available now, the 2023 season, 2022, 2016, 2004, 1998 is available, and also 1975. So those are all the carded seasons that I have available right now. I'm working on 1991, so I'm basically done I'm almost done with the batters, so I got to go on to the pitchers. But that one is coming along. Actually, I might be done with that, with the pictures as well. I just need to get that all sort of boxed up and put onto the website, and do a little double checking, editing. So that season is almost ready to go. So if you're a child of the 90s like me, and you want to replay one of the great World Series of all time, see if it comes out the same, you can play that game. And I'm just going to keep expanding the number of seasons available for On Base. My card making procedure is a lot faster than it used to be, so that's been very helpful. I could do a season in a day, which is and work at the same time. If I wasn't working, maybe I could do 2 a day. So it's sped up quite a bit throughout the time that I've been making cards. And I'm even finding more and more ways, to use formulas to be able to automate some of the processes and things like that. And, how can I merge data sets together in a better way or a more efficient way than just doing things by hand. So I'm really just trying to learn a good process for that. I don't have it written down, so I kind of have to figure it out a little bit each time, but I'm getting better at doing it. So this is, it's a learning process all the way through. Even though the game is solid, now you just got to worry about making it. You got to make the seasons. So people always say, once they've designed the game, you feel like it's over. But really, the work is just beginning. So unless you have a way to just sort of data dump everything and use that, the work is just beginning of retouching the game and, putting in new features or whatever. So, and then you got to tell people about it. So it's a whole process. And, I got multiple games going on up in the air all the time. So, hopefully everyone is patient with me as I live my life and work and create these games. I feel like I'm in this for the long play. And so I'm just going to put out as much as I can. Once you go through the 2023 seasons, there's no real reason to go back and touch it again. So I feel like once I make it through those gates and put those out there, they are ready. and they're ready for the next generation to play. If you like sabermetrics, if you are interested in numbers and baseball and that side of baseball, if you're interested in the strategy, obviously there's quite a few strategy moves that I get to make in here. Then check out On Base Baseball. It's $20. You get an entire season. You get all of the roster sheets. You get all the cards. So every player who got into a game, either they got a plate appearance or they got into a game as a pitcher, every player is carded. And 4 seasons where there were pitchers batting, all those pitchers were carded who got an at bat or got a plate appearance, I guess. And so it's 1,800 cards for over 1,800 cards, individual cards for 2023 for $20. So I don't know what that is per card, but it's not very much. And so it's a really good deal. For older seasons, you can still go back and you can play older seasons through the roster sheet sets. So you'll get a contextualized game engine chart for that decade. And then you'll basically get an entire decade of roster sheets just like this, broken out by individual year. And so you can download whatever year you want. It's usually 7 to 10 pages for batters, 7 to 10 pages for pitchers. You could put that in a little notebook, and you would just have you'd have the entire season there in a small notebook. And it's all the pitchers, all have been rated, all the batters, they've been rated with their statistics, the same statistics that we're showing here, including their sabermetric stats. And so it's kind of a cool way to be able to see some of these older players. We have everyone from 1940 all the way through 2009. So you can get each decade, $20, a decade's worth of baseball. You would, if that's the only decade you want to play, you would never have to buy anything else. Some gamers really, really like the roster sheets because they're compact, they're easy to deal with, and you don't have to do a bunch of cutting. So if you've had some issues with your hands or arthritis, or cutting is just really hard, and the thought of cutting out 1,500 players or 1,000 players is just not very interesting to you, or you don't even think you can do it, try out the roster sheet sets. You don't have to do any cutting, it's just some printing, and then you take this data here and you transfer it. So you transfer these numbers over to your sheet, which is what I do each time whenever I'm calling out the player. I'm just taking their data off of these roster sheets and transferring it over to my score sheet. I have 2 different score sheets. One is, you can see here, I just go straight down. That's an at-bat level, I guess. And then you also have some space here to do your totals, which I haven't really been doing, but you could do your totals for every player. And then I also have one that's a traditional, it goes all the way across, and it's got 12 innings, and you just do inning by inning. So 2 different kinds of score sheets, but they both include the same left-hand side and the same pitching sort of setup, so that you can input your player data. And then just a few extras in here. So the score sheet sets itself up really well for using the roster sheet. So just so do that. So if you're having some issues with your hands, or maybe it's hard for you to cut out stuff, or you don't want to use all of that ink or whatever, then you can use the roster sheet sets, and it gives you the same exact gameplay. You're just rolling off of this instead of looking at cards, right? And there's a little bit of extra kind of goofiness because you only have one outcome here on the pitcher card. So if you have to downgrade him a column inside the guidebook, I have this chart here on a single page that you can print out, and so you can see if a pitcher needs to be downgraded, that you can print that out and just have that, so that you'll know how the pitcher needs to be downgraded for that. All right. I think that's it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, click subscribe. We're trying to put out one of these every day until we get to a winner for this 2023 season. Hopefully, if you're interested still in baseball, or you're coming back, these are the players who are playing now. They do still play baseball, and it was good baseball. There was some good baseball that was being played. Some exciting moments, some hard moments, and some exciting moments. And yeah, baseball is alive. So go out and pick up On Base Baseball. You can get it at clarkandaddisongaming.com. clarkandaddisongaming.com. And if you click on the baseball up in the top menu header, that'll take you to all the baseball games that I have, including On Base. And then down the left-hand side, you can sort of navigate to all of the games that I have. I have some free resources as well, both for On Base and just generally for playing different baseball games or different games. And I'll be adding more and more to the site, so make sure you go back and check. Hopefully, I'll be able to set up a few sales for the upcoming Black Friday, and be announcing those a little bit on Facebook or on the SportsM magazine has offered to host those announcements, so I'll be doing that on their Facebook page. If you want to join the Facebook group for the Clark and Addison Gaming Company, you'll get some sort of inside information. Sometimes just things I'm working on or thoughts that I had, or just things that I see as I'm working on different seasons or games. Interesting statistical type things that I'm seeing. And also, typically you get things first. So there's a football game that you can download and play right now, and that's the only place you can get it is the Facebook group. That'll probably change this weekend, but they've had a couple of weeks access to those files. So if you want to join that Facebook group, I'll put the link down in the description. Follow that link, answer a couple questions. It's a private group, so that's why there's a couple of questions to ask. But if you're a gamer and you're interested, I don't think the questions are going to be too difficult for you. So just answer those questions. We'll let you in, and then you can share your replays, thoughts, questions, maybe suggestions for games. I'm totally open to those things. It may not work for what my vision is for it, but definitely will listen to anything that anyone has to say, especially if you've played the games. I'm totally wide open to, hey, this is an issue. And so we got that. All right, I think I'm going to close this one up just by saying give this video a thumbs up if you like it. That helps us out. Give it a subscribe. If you've watched 2 or 3 of these videos, just subscribe and you'll get notified of new videos when they're posted. They'll be in your subscriptions on YouTube, or if you click the little bell icon, you'll be notified whenever I post new content. And it could be baseball, it could be football, it could be basketball, working on a lot of different things, got a golf game. So it's not only baseball, but right now it's only baseball. So we're trying to finish up this replay here. I've got a Max Fried 2022 replay that's on the back burner, and he's about start number 7 or 8 out of 30. So that one is a little bit on the back burner as well. That one I'm using the card, so it takes a little bit more time to prep and cut out the cards. He only faced the same team a few times, so not able to you got to just print out and cut cards for every new team, so that takes a little bit more time to prep that, and I can also play it offline. So all right, that's it here. 4-1 is our score. Toronto takes game 1 in this wild card series number 2 in the American League, and they lead the series 1-0. Next game up will be Toronto with Minnesota, and let's see if Minnesota can come back or Toronto takes this one home and heads on to the next round. That's it for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.